So, if you're like me and you're a kid who grew up in the early 2000s, there's no doubt in my mind that you also have one of these. Just a dusty old sandwich baggie full of random DS games. Because why would you save the plastic case for these little Cheez-It crackers where you can just, keep them in a bag and keep them portable? At least that was my mentality when I was a child. Boy, do I hate myself, especially when I see how much fucking Pokemon Black and White goes for nowadays. It is insane. So yeah, that's about it. I don't really have any, massively elaborate fucking, discussion topic. I just figured we'd take a look at my own bag of DS games and see what we have going for us. As you all know, great value is the best way to store your DS games. The best way to store Luigi. Now, as you can probably tell, we've got a good mix of solid titles and pure garbage on both sides of that Mario game. And, a couple random things that I have in there that not really sure how I ended up with, but we'll get there as we go. Plastic. How do I want to go about this? I didn't really think this far ahead. Do I want to just pull some out, or just, Oh, that was it. Oh, they're on the floor. Yeah, that was stupid. Don't do what I do. Okay, did a double check. I couldn't see any that have spilt on the floor. So to the best of my knowledge, this is what we have to work with. That is insane. Alright, I guess let's just see what we got here. Let's start with this thing. Yeah, this doesn't belong here. this one really, that's an odd-looking DS game, if I've ever seen one. So obviously we've got my only physical PS Vita game, Little Big Planet, if it wants to focus. Yep. I collected this. I didn't collect this, actually. So, I was given a Vita. Well, I have a weird history with the PlayStation Vita, which involves me begging for one from my friend Josh, getting it, playing Persona 4 Golden, which was the only reason why I wanted it. Then I sold it. Fast forward a couple years later, my brother's friend gives him a PlayStation Vita, which came with Little Big Planet. My brother didn't really want the Vita, so I took it off his hands. And then once I did that, I then in turn traded the damn thing off again to Josh because I wanted an Elgato, which I now have, thank God. Oh, we're not done, by the way. Once I give Josh this game, he buys a couple stuff, he plays for a little bit. I proceed to break the I proceeded to break the Elgato not even a full week into owning it. So that was a waste. And it was also a waste for him because after he played it a little bit, he realized he didn't really like the PlayStation Vita. And that's how the situation stayed for quite some time, until then I, in my collecting phase, learned how to mod the thing. And then I really, really wanted to do that. Really, you don't understand. So, $140 later, I got that. And it is awesome. However, since I modded it, the game slot is now my micro SD holder via this adapter. Pretty swanky stuff. All of that for this little guy right here. So anyway, yeah, I put this with my DS games. Where else am I gonna put this? Because I didn't get a case with this game. It was just the game in the cartridge slot, so yeah. And yeah, with something this small, I mean, what else was I gonna do with it? Okay, now that elaborate explanation is out of the way, let's talk about my actual DS stuff. Let's grab this one right here, and haha! Any of you guys have good memories with this thing right here? God, I hope not. Yes, Wizards of Waverly Place on DS. Never played it. You see, when someone inherits a DS, it's given with all kinds of crappy shovelware. Games like that, or this one right here, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Garbage. And then, look at this. I keep looking, I keep pulling out shitty shovelware games. Look at that. Pets, Dogs, and EA Playground. What even is this? I don't think I'd trust EA at a playground, quite frankly. But we do have some actual quality games here. I feel like every single person on this green earth has played Super Mario Brothers. Oh, sorry. That is actually, if it wants to focus, New Super Mario Brothers. Ugh, that cartridge has been through a lot. Yeah, but New Super Mario Brothers was the first brand new 2D Mario game in over a decade at that point, I believe. Aside from a couple remakes, but I'm not all too knowledgeable about this. But this thing right here was my introduction to 2D Mario. And it is actually pretty good. Unlike the other two games in the series, three. Unlike the other three games in this series, it feels the most fresh, it has the best level design in my opinion, and it didn't need a gimmick, it was just a new Super Mario Bros. Game. That title would then go to fuck them in the ass later, but that's neither here nor there. Next up, we got LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. Now, this was an interesting case, because this is somewhere between shovelware and actual good game, because the handheld ports of DS games were not the best quality. They weren't quite awful, but they definitely were not good. This thing right here is not great. It's not awful, like, it was fun. It doesn't hold a candle to the original release, which is fine. It's okay. I didn't really play too much of this, honestly, but yeah, this is like in the middle of shovelware and decent game. Yes. Mario Kart DS. Now, this is one of my favorites because it highlighted a feature of the DS that I feel has gone significantly underrated, or at least no one talks about it anymore. That would be download play. If you had two DSs but only one copy of Mario Kart, guess what? You can still play multiplayer! I believe you were forced to play as like a ghost or something if you didn't own the game though, so segregation. But yeah, Super Mario Kart DS was the first genuinely 3D entry in the series on handhelds, and just like New Super Mario Bros., this was also my introduction to Mario Kart. And quite frankly, I haven't really dabbled much farther than this entry in the series. I own Super Mario 64, but I didn't grow up with it, so I don't really have much of an appeal to play it, and the general gameplay format gets a bit dull to me after a while. So yeah, aside from this game right here, I don't really delve too deep with Mario Kart. It's certainly an amazingly fun party game, but that's about it, and I don't have friends. I keep trying to find interesting games, but it's just shovelware. Look, just garbage, all of it. It's all garbage. Ah yes, right here we have the Cooking Mama duology. There is actually a third one and a couple spin-offs called Garden Mama, but I didn't play that. Oh, there's also one called Crafting Mama. Why is this mother do everything? But yeah, these are okay games. I mean, nothing like absurdly great. Now these are definitely, so they are good games for what they are. And what they are is an excuse to show off the DS's touchscreen gimmicks. Yeah. I mean, they're just fun games. They're essentially just mini-game collections where you use the touchscreen and your stylus to, like stir a pot or just like stab a fucking onion. Yeah. And the gameplay is pretty interchangeable between the two of these, but if you gave me the choice, I would pick the first one because I nudged the camera. But yeah, if you gave me the choice between these two, I would still pick the first one because that's what I have the most memories with, and thus it's my go-to. But yeah, these aren't bad, but they're definitely, they really only work as DS games. No doubt showcased even further by the one on Switch, which was supposedly a cryptocurrency miner. I know nothing about that, so don't ask me for clarification, please. Aha, let's see here. This one is fan-fucking-tastic. Super Scribblenauts, or just Scribblenauts. I believe this is like a compilation of the first couple games, but could be wrong. But regardless, Scribblenauts is one of the most creative games I've ever played. and yet I only like to play it on the DS. For those of you who don't know, Scribblenauts is a game where you scribble the knots. I'm kidding. But no, for real, the game revolves around its one central mechanic. At any point in the game, you can pull up this little text box here, type in something, and it appears. You want a gun? There's a gun. You want a vampire? Boom. Cheeseburger, literally anything. And you're supposed to use your creativity here to solve puzzles. So, for example, if there was a fire, you could type hose, and then you could use the hose to put out the fire. Riveting stuff. But yeah, this was a game I played a lot of, and it's actually a series that has survived past the DS days. With a new game coming out a couple of years back, I believe, but didn't hear good things about it. However, I feel like this game was just made for the DS, almost like it's a DS game or something. This game really feels at home on the console, and it's far less intrusive to solve the puzzles because in any other version of the game, the entire screen whenever you need to type something in is, wiped out with the text box so you can enter in your stuff. On the DS, it's on the second screen because that was the DS's whole thing. And I felt like that just worked the best there. Wow, I guess that's really it. Just kidding, I own a single Pokemon game. I'm sure all you 90s kids are going to disagree with me when I say this, but the DS was the place to be for Pokemon fans. For starters, you had Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl. Even if I wasn't really a fan of their original versions, people were obsessed with them. And then that gave us the Gen 2 remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I have the Heart Gold cartridge right here. Now, fun fact, this game was bought for me on a whim by my good friend Logan. Because, he doesn't know when to stop giving his friends gifts. He might have a problem. I should really go give him a hug. But yeah, after COVID, the DS Pokemon games skyrocket in value. This little thing right here loose is probably like at least $100, and I don't even want to think about what I don't even want to think about what it costs complete. But we came across this at a local card shop, which also has like a little kiosk for retro games, and yeah, while I was at work, he bought me this. And it was $90. Then I made fun of him by showing him that I could just emulate it at any time. He wasn't very happy about that. But yeah, the Gen 2 remakes, I played Soul Silver as a kid, but, they're more or less the same thing, besides the Legendary. Yeah, they were really good, and my favorite feature was that you could walk around with your Pokemon at all times. As someone who grew up with the anime, that was amazing. But yeah. This is my second ever Pokemon game. My first one was Pokemon Ranger. Garbage. My first real Pokemon game, however, was Black and White, and I'm probably going to make a main video on that sooner rather than later, so good luck, be ready for that. That's really it. I have Zoo Tycoon DS, pretty good port of the PC game. Why are you playing Zoo Tycoon on the DS? And yeah, everything else I have here is just shovelware. Like, once again, EA Playground. Don't know what that is. I have Nicktoons. Nicktoons game. That could be interesting. I believe my friend Jordan gave me this one. And, I guess I could talk about this one. Crash Bandicoot, what's that say? Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant. Now, Crash had a couple of games on the DS based on this odd, reboot of the franchise. The one where Aku Aku looks different, Crash has, tribal tattoos, and it's a beat-em-up more than a platformer. Kind of weird, but this one's interesting because I believe, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll, flash a funny JPEG on screen right now. So yeah, that's my DS collection. And, a random Vita game and a micro SD adapter for PCs. I don't know, Listen, if it's small and gaming related, it goes in the sandwich bag. I don't know what you want from me. Surely I couldn't have been the only one who had a sandwich baggie full of video games. So, what are some games you've held on to from the DS days? Do you like them? Do you still revisit them? Do you wish you kept the cases like I do? Cause my fucking god.